Imagine being the face of the world's sexiest brand for almost 2 decades. Adriana Lima wasn't just a Victoria's Secret model, she was the Victoria's Secret Angel, the longest-running angel in history, the woman who defined an era of sexy. But what if I told you that behind those fierce cat eyes was a woman fighting battles nobody knew about? When Adriana walked her final runway in 2018, the world thought they knew why. Oh, she's getting older. Oh, she's focusing on family. But honey, the real story, it's so much more complicated than that. You think you know Adriana Lima's story? Think again. The truth behind why she really left Victoria's Secret is far from the fairy tale they sold us. Buckle up, because today we're diving into the rise, the rebellion, and the reality behind the woman who finally said no to one of the biggest brands in the world. Early background. Before the wings and runways, Adriana was just a girl from Salvador, Brazil, with striking features and big dreams. At 15, yes, 15, she won Ford's Supermodel of Brazil competition. By 18, she was in New York, and Victoria's Secret came calling. Just like that, a legacy was born. For the next 18 years, Adriana and Victoria's Secret became inseparable. She wasn't just modeling for them, she was them. 3 months after giving birth? Back on the runway, 8 weeks after her second daughter. There again, looking flawless. But there were signs, little cracks in the perfect image. In interviews, she'd mentioned the liquid-only diet for 9 days before shows, the twice-daily workouts, the sauna sessions, until her body had nothing left to give. No liquids for 12 hours before the show, she once casually mentioned, like it was normal. It's like an athlete preparing for the Olympics. But nobody was asking, what happens when your body becomes a product, when the world watches your every curve? While everyone admired those wings, nobody noticed how heavy they were becoming. Nobody saw how each year, as the standards grew more impossible, something in her eyes was changing. That fire was still there, but something else was brewing too. Something that would eventually lead her to make a decision that shocked the fashion world. The glamorous facade. Let's talk about what that runway really cost. You think it's just walking and posing? Think again. For Adriana, it was a non-stop physical battle. 2-a-day workouts with her trainer, sometimes for 3 hours each session. Not for a week or a month, for months before each show. And the diet. Brutal. Adriana once told the media she went on liquid diets 9 days before the show. No solid food at all. And 12 hours before showtime, not even water. She was literally dehydrating herself to look defined under those lights. And everyone just nodded like this was normal. The workouts weren't just intense, they were military grade. Boxing, jumping rope, weight training, all while eating practically nothing. It's not easy for us, she once admitted. We're human like everyone else. But Victoria's Secret didn't sell human, they sold perfection. And the pressure? Imagine millions of eyes judging every inch of your body. One year, Adriana trained so hard she literally passed out during prep. But did they cancel? Did they say maybe this is too much? Nope. The show must go on, baby. The glamour was real, but the price tag was hidden. And year after year, Adriana paid it in full. Personal awakening. Then something happened that Victoria's Secret never prepared for. Adriana started to change, not her body, her mind. Becoming a mother to Valentina in 2009 and Sienna in 2012 shifted something fundamental in how she saw herself. My children, they're my priority, she started saying in interviews. But in an industry where your body is your currency, motherhood is complicated. Around 2016, you could see it in her eyes, the questioning. In interviews, she started talking less about diets and more about strength, less about looking sexy and more about feeling powerful. The pivotal moment? 2017. Adriana posted something shocking on Instagram. "I will not take off my clothes anymore for an empty cause." Boom! Just like that, she dropped a truth bomb on the entire industry. She was tired of society imposing impossible beauty standards. Tired of taking off her clothes because that's what sells. This wasn't just about Victoria's Secret anymore. This was about Adriana finding her voice. Behind the scenes, a war was raging. The angel who'd given nearly 2 decades to building a fantasy was waking up to reality. She couldn't be both the Adriana who inspired her daughters to value themselves beyond their bodies and the Adriana who starved herself to model lingerie. Something had to give, and Victoria's Secret wasn't ready for a woman who chose herself over their fantasy. The breaking point. By 2018, the cracks weren't just showing, they were breaking wide open. While Victoria's Secret was busy planning their next show, Adriana was having conversations they weren't ready for. The breaking point. That Instagram post wasn't just talk, Adriana meant it. When she wrote about not taking off her clothes for empty causes, the fashion world gasped. But she wasn't backing down. Behind closed doors, sources say Adriana was fighting for change, more diversity, less objectification, evolution. But Victoria's Secret. They were still selling the same fantasy they'd been pushing since the 90s. Then came the brutal comments from Ed Razek, Victoria's Secret's chief marketing officer, about not casting transgender or plus-size models because they didn't fit the fantasy. While other models stayed silent, Adriana was done pretending. Her social media shifted dramatically. Less lingerie, more family, less posing, more purpose. She started working with brands that aligned with her values. The message was clear: Adriana Lima was no longer for sale. The exit decision, November 8, 2018. The moment it all ended. Adriana's final walk wasn't just emotional, it was loaded with meaning only she fully understood. When she walked that runway for the last time, tears streaming down her face, everyone thought they were tears of gratitude, but look closer. Those were tears of relief, freedom, the end of a chapter that had defined her for too long. Victoria's Secret gave her a special tribute, wings made of Swarovski crystals, a standing ovation. The narrative they pushed, a celebration of her incredible run. But the truth? Adriana had made her decision months earlier. Not because she was too old at 37, please, she was still in better shape than models half her age. Not because she couldn't do it anymore, she absolutely could. She left because staying meant compromising the woman she had become, the woman who wanted her daughters to value themselves beyond their bodies, the woman who was tired of perpetuating impossible standards. The official announcement was carefully crafted PR. The real reason? Adriana Lima had outgrown the fantasy she'd been selling, and no pair of wings, no matter how spectacular, was worth her soul. Life after Victoria's Secret. So what happens when you walk away from being the face of sexy? For Adriana, it wasn't about disappearing. It was about redefining herself on her own terms. Post-Victoria's Secret Adriana, she's a whole different woman. Gone are the days of liquid diets and punishing workouts. Instead, she's embraced a more balanced approach to fitness and nutrition. Looking amazing, still happening. Killing herself to do it? Not anymore. In interviews now, Adriana speaks openly about the toxic standards she once helped promote. "I was doing unhealthy things to look a certain way," she admitted. "No more sugarcoating, no more pretending it was just discipline." She called it what it was, unhealthy, and her career, thriving but different. She became the face of Puma, a brand about strength, not just sex appeal. She launched collaborations focused on confidence rather than perfection. Her modeling didn't stop, it evolved. Most importantly, Adriana became vocal about the changes needed in the industry. "We're not just bodies," she said in a 2020 interview. "We're women with minds and voices." The woman who once silently endured impossible standards was now loudly challenging them. Legacy and impact. Adriana's exit wasn't just personal, it was prophetic. Barely a year after she hung up her wings, Victoria's Secret was in free fall. Sales plummeted, stores closed, their once untouchable fashion show cancelled in 2019, never to return in its original form. The fashion world was changing, and Adriana had seen it coming before the brand did. Other angels followed her lead: Alessandra Ambrosio, Lily Aldridge, Martha Hunt, all exiting as the company struggled to stay relevant. Victoria's Secret scrambled to rebrand, finally embracing diversity and inclusivity years too late. They hired plus-size models, transgender models, exactly the evolution Adriana had reportedly pushed for before leaving. But the real legacy? Adriana showed that even at the peak of success, you can choose your values over your paycheck. She proved that evolution isn't just possible, it's necessary. Look at modeling today: body positivity, diverse representation, models speaking out on social issues. Adriana didn't start all of this, but her high-profile exit accelerated the change. The girl from Brazil, who became the face of an era, didn't just walk away from Victoria's Secret. She walked toward a future where models are allowed to be human, where perfection isn't the only standard, where women define sexy for themselves. In the end, Adriana Lima's greatest modeling job wasn't on that glittering runway. It was modeling what courage looks like when you finally decide that enough is enough. Conclusion: Adriana Lima didn't just leave Victoria's Secret, she outgrew it. She chose authenticity over fantasy, self-worth over approval, and blazed a trail for models everywhere. Her courage wasn't walking a runway in wings, it was walking away when those wings no longer fit who she'd become. The fashion world is still catching up to what Adriana already knew. Women are done being sold a fantasy they can't live up to. If this story hit home for you, smash that subscribe button for more untold celebrity truths. Drop a comment with who you want to hear about next. And remember, sometimes the most powerful runway move is the exit. Catch you in the next one.